All right, we're going to start at 6:35. Hi, everyone. I'm Rachel Adler. I am your presenter, and this is presented by the Phyllis B. Frank Pride Center for Rockland County. I'm so excited to be hosting and presenting for this event. I'm going to talk a little bit about me. So this is LinkedIn 2021, a workshop, and I'm going to go over everything from your profile to what the new features are. And if you have questions, please put them in the chat. I have them open. I'm really good at multitasking. My dad can attest I am like Chloe from 24, and that might be dating me, but I'm perpetually connected. And so if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. So a little bit about, so the reason there's a slide for this is this slide is made public so everyone can share and download and learn about the Rockland County Pride Center. And I would love you all to be able to follow the Rockland County Pride Center, you know, their Rockland Pride 365. And I included all their social media links and a little bit about them. And if you're interested in donating, please donate. So a little bit about me. I'm currently the Account and Digital Strategy Director for Arch Street Communications. It's a woman-owned firm. We are a disadvantaged firm that works with government. So we really translate what constituents speak so that government understands and gets the message out there completely. And then this is just a little bit about me. I put in the PowerPoint if you want to connect with me. I'm always available for one-on-one questions. I'm always happy to help. About the event. So we're going to really go and do a deep dive onto LinkedIn, what you should be doing, what kind of checklist you should be having for your profile, how you should be engaging with people, and any of the new materials that have come out because of COVID-19. We're really in a digital world, and this is a fantastic opportunity to optimize a network that a lot of people aren't utilizing to the best of their abilities. So just some virtual meeting etiquette. If this is just a general slide that I usually present everywhere of what you're going to be needing to do if you want to keep your video on. Just keep your name in there just in case you have a question later on. So I'm not just saying, hey, you. Don't stare at your own image. If you are going to be doing the interactive part of your LinkedIn, I ask that you turn your video off. Just so it's not distracting to other participants. And then if you'd like, just please remain muted until we get to the question section. And I think we can have a great event. So be attentive. All the slides and resources are going to be shared as they have been shared already. And then if you have questions, please put them in the chat. And if you are live tweeting the event, LinkedIn Pride 365 is the hashtag. Thank you. So deep dive into LinkedIn. I asked a poll of how many of you use LinkedIn, and I would love to know what you're all thinking. So how many of you use LinkedIn, and just respond in the chat. How many of you use LinkedIn on a daily basis? Just, you know, do a check mark, you know, like a 1, or, you know, say yes in the chat. So we have a couple, wow, we have a lot of people that use LinkedIn daily. I'm very, very happy about that. A lot of the times when I do this presentation, a lot of people are like, I didn't even know it was a real social network. So this is fantastic. How many of you use LinkedIn like once a month and just write like month when you respond in the chat? I'm gonna let you guys all respond if you can. And then how many of you don't use LinkedIn at all and you're like, why should I use it? Weekly, okay. Okay, so we have a lot of people that are like once a month, quarterly, casually, every month. Okay, I'm gonna make LinkedIn your network that you wanna sign on to every single day. I don't use LinkedIn yet, I would like to use it often. Okay, that's very interesting to know. Okay, so we have some people that are like, I have a LinkedIn, I haven't signed on in a couple of years. Okay, so I'm gonna make you wanna sign into LinkedIn every day. It's going to be your network of preference. So currently, as of 2019, as of 2021, There's 722 million members in 200 countries, regions, and worldwide. And the number is growing substantially in the United States, but since we are in a global economy, it's really important to understand that LinkedIn is used so vastly throughout the entire world. It is a global network. It is a network that people feel safe about. It is a network that hasn't been banned in other countries like Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or WhatsApp. There is a mobile component to it. They have different like connections and networks with different SMS, and SMS is like, you know, messaging, like mobile messaging platforms. And it is one of those networks that's sort of like just there. It's there. It makes people feel comfortable. They all have it. And nobody is like sort of scared of it. It's been around since 2005, 2006. It currently is owned by Microsoft. It was formerly owned by Reed and Weiner, and they still are on board. They still deal with all of the day-to-day functions, but LinkedIn is really a professional network. What it is made for is to connect professionals together to do the best that they can to fix the global economy. So right now we're going to be doing an activity. I want everyone to Google themselves. I know nobody likes Googling themselves, but you should be Googling yourselves as professionals at least once a month. And this is just a way, like Google, Bing, Yahoo yourself. Like I want everyone to Google themselves. And I want just one sentence in the chat of what you guys have found. Like, are you happy? Like, give me a sentiment analysis of, are you happy with what you found? Are you sad about what you found? Are you whatever about, like, are you mad about how you found, like how you're perceived? Because what should come up if you have a really fantastic LinkedIn profile is your LinkedIn profile should be coming up on your first page results. And if you aren't doing a LinkedIn, if you aren't doing a Google check-in about yourself, you're not in control of your narrative. Ginny, I love hearing that your LinkedIn, Twitter, and RAND commercial come up. Maureen, I love that LSHV is coming up. Your bio should come up. Like if you are on your company's website, your bio should come up. Twitter comes first, LinkedIn, and then my company. Okay, so remember, how many of you are going to the third or second page of a Google search result to vet a character? Whether or not that's someone you're working with, whether or not that's someone you're having a meeting with. So you have to be in control of your first page results. Okay, so I'm happy people, so you're seeing, oh, someone else's Twitter account. You have to get in control of your search. And a way that you can do that, because LinkedIn has such great relationships with all of the different networks, is having a good and functional LinkedIn relationship and LinkedIn profile. So we're seeing LinkedIn is coming up. We're seeing Twitter, we're seeing Facebook. Now remember, if you do not consider your Facebook as your professional profile, do you want your Facebook to be the first thing that's popping up on that page? Is anyone surprised on what they found? Is anyone surprised that LinkedIn came up so high? So LinkedIn comes up because they have a great relationship with multiple search engines. They are like BFFs with, you know, Microsoft Edge because they're a Microsoft product. They're really good relationship with Yahoo. They're in a very good relationship with Google, and they're in a very good relationship with Bing. So if you're not in control of your LinkedIn or haven't checked your LinkedIn in months, that's how people are perceiving you. So really, a lot of your LinkedIn is about branding yourself and how that brands your company. So the goal of professional branding is really making sure you're the most influential person of how you want to perceive your brand. So has anyone ever thought of what is my personal brand? And we're going to get into a deeper dive on this because that's going to help you shape your LinkedIn. So when I always ask people when I do these LinkedIn presentations to Google themselves, people are like, why? And I'm like, because LinkedIn's going to show up. So I always say when you're developing your professional brand, you should think of these 3 goals and 3 steps. So the rules of 3s. So if it didn't show up for you, that means like your LinkedIn profile is not matching what people want to find. So what are your goals? Do you want to gain awareness and be visible? Do you want to build trust and be consistent? Do you want to earn loyalty and be valuable? And then, so those are your 3 goal questions, and those help you shape your executive bios. So like if you have a LinkedIn profile that basically has the bare minimum of like, here's my job, here's my title, and I haven't filled it in, nothing is going to show up for you, because it is all about how are you going to help the organization or the company or the person if everything is blank. A job title is just a job title. You have to give a description. So what are the 3 steps that we should all be working on? We should be working on what is your unique selling points. So like, are you a professional connector? Are you someone that's really good at social media? Are you someone that understands government speak and can translate it into, you know, constituent understanding or the people understanding? What are your passions? What are your skills? There's a very thin line, especially now with COVID, of what is the difference between professional and personal. Everything you put online should be professional. If you don't want it on the front page of the New York Times, you should not be posting it on any of your social networks. What are your passions? What are your skills? Creating your identity. So making sure that your digital presence isn't different on every social network, that you're not like having a secret identity. And then making sure it's visible. So if you're not showing up, you're not pulling the seat at the table. And then, so why is LinkedIn a powerful tool? So this is one of my like favorite quotes of all time. And it states, here's the profound and true secret that you have to know, a no-brainer actually. LinkedIn has become the best tool for personal branding, as it's guilty of being, because since the beginning of Mesopotamia times, customers have always preferred the human touch over a cold, pretentious corporate caress. And I love this because LinkedIn is really about understanding what your responsibilities are to society. So if you volunteer, put your volunteer experience. It's really about how you connect communities. So if you're in real estate, are you involved in your community? If you are in medicine, like, what's everything that's going on? We understand your doctors. We love that. We thank you for that. But I want to know what's happening at the hospital. I want to know what's happening in my community. People are yentas. People want to know. And so that's the beauty of LinkedIn. It's the uncluttered noise that you want, that is corporate social responsibility and your professional brand. So why B2B marketers build on LinkedIn? There's over 200 companies, 55+ million companies on there. Every day, 3 professionals sign up. Oh, I'm sorry, every second, 3 professionals sign up. People are involved in groups. LinkedIn is one of the fastest growing brands. 89% of companies or individual solopreneurs are using live streaming. People attend 6.3 in 2020. In 2020, 6.3 million members attended virtual events on LinkedIn. There's 1 billion interactions happening on LinkedIn pages every single month. 55% more conversations. and 60% more content created. So the beauty about LinkedIn is it's not just a place where you can post news, it's also where you can create news. So if you're not utilizing LinkedIn publishing, if you're not posting your blogs on there, you're missing out because people use LinkedIn as their newspaper. I use it every morning where I have what's trending, what do I need to know, what's happening in my network, and I'm going to teach you how you can curate that so it's your community. So let's start. The next activity we're going to do is going to help you create your executive bio. How many of you have an executive bio on LinkedIn? Just respond with either a hand up or write yes in the chat. Like, yes, I have a bio. When's the last time you updated that bio? My husband said no in here. Updating now, good. It's been some time. You should be updating your bio every 3 months because the amount of work that we are all doing in this COVID pandemic bubble is exponential. The amount of work you're doing, the amount of creation you're doing is crazy. There are probably skills on here that you were just, rubbing off as like, oh, everyone's doing them. Believe me, when you believe that everyone is doing them, the majority of the time, not everyone is doing them. So if you are doing, visual presentations, if you are doing Zoom webinars, believe me, half of your peers are not doing them. Sell yourself. This is your opportunity to boast yourself, to really like peacock. So I want everyone to list your skills in the chat, because if you can list your skills here, you can list your skills on LinkedIn. And a lot of the times your peers will help you with your skills and your expertise, but it's really, really important that you have the confidence to sell yourself. So if everyone can just list some skills, I put some skills as like starting jumping off points, because I know a lot of the times when we ask people to write resumes about themselves or executive bios about themselves, they freeze, they can't do it. So detach from the person that you are and pretend you're writing about someone that you love about, someone that is like your best friend or something like that. That's how I want you to write your bios. Write it about if it was your best friend or if it's your favorite coworker, because that's going to be the best way that you're able to really highlight and showcase yourself. Now, everyone is writing beautiful, beautiful skills about themselves. Shar wrote cinematographer, editor, dancer, teacher, activist. Now, if Shar goes to her LinkedIn, are those saying that on her LinkedIn? Because if they're not, they should be. They're beautiful. They're great skills. We have other people that have accounting and bookkeeping and tax returns. If those aren't being featured on your LinkedIn, nobody's going to know that you do that. So you have to make sure your skills reflect that. So these are the top skills currently on LinkedIn as of 2020. So really between February and May, you're going to see all the social networks, because right now the social networks are in flux because of COVID-19, of what are the trends. Now, Hootsuite does a trend report. It came out this week. It actually came out today. And it talks about that like online consumer time online has gone up exponentially. So in the beginning of February, this was last year's February 2020, the top 5 skills for LinkedIn were creativity, persuasion, collaboration, adaptability, emotional intelligence. And then the top hard skills were blockchain, cloud computing, analytics, reasoning, artificial intelligence, business analysis, affiliated marketing, sales, scientific computing, and video production. The new skills as of Q4, so December, were emotional intelligence, communications, adaptability, creativity, collaboration, leadership, and time management. So from the beginning of 2020 to the end of 2020, everything has shifted. And being able to adapt and change is one of the great features of LinkedIn. So right now, the big thing that we are going to do is in this workshop is with your top 3 skills, I want you to write 3 sentences about yourself. So I use as an example, I'm a connector, I'm a motivator, and I'm innovative. So Rachel inspires, motivates, and educates businesses on how to leverage emerging technologies and digital marketing. Rachel's favorite activity is being a connector and connecting people to the right people. And is a fan of all things digital and social media, emerging technologies, and innovation. So those are the keywords I want people to find me for. And then I combined it into one sentence. So if someone was like, hey, what are you? I'm an innovator who connects insightful people with great people who do meaningful things. That's exactly what I do. If someone was like, what does Arch Street Communications do? What do you do for Arch Street Communications? I'm an innovator who connects insightful people with great people to do meaningful things. Everything I do is to connect people, and it's to connect people whether or not it's to connect them together or to connect them to technology. So I want all of you right now, I'll give you like 2 minutes to do it. Write 3 sentences about yourself. And if you are having a struggle writing 3 sentences about yourself, pretend it's someone else that you're writing on behalf of. And if anyone wants to share what they write, please do in the chat. And if you've already come up with like your elevator pitch, like please share that. Because I think when people, oh, so William just did, experience working with diverse groups of people to practical solutions with limited resources. Matt wrote, Matt is powerful in his skills to adapt and plan. Matt is able to plan complex events/trips with multi-layers while considering all components of the situation. Now, these are all people you want to hire. Like, these are fantastic. These are fantastic sentences to get people motivated. Does anyone need any more time? I'm going to move on. So now we're going to go into a deep dive of LinkedIn. So the LinkedIn checklist. Now the LinkedIn checklist looks big, but the more you complete it, the more you get to an all-star LinkedIn profile. So when you come up with that one sentence, that is like your elevator pitch, that elevator pitch can be your headline. Your headline can also be your career. Now, you want your headline to be a better understanding of the role that you can play or the role that you're already playing. Your photo and background image. So, you know, your photo should be a professional photo. It shouldn't be with a group of people. It should be a great headshot, like invest in yourself. Your background image should be something that, you know, the background image, I like to think of the background image as prime real estate for advertising. So if you want to use that for your company, use it for your company. What if the photo is a logo? Okay, so great question. I don't suggest a photo as a logo because people want to connect with people. They don't want to connect with brands. Now, if you want to have your logo and you have your own company, create a LinkedIn company page. A LinkedIn company page can highlight everything you guys do, from video to documents to images, everything. If that's the case, put it on a company page, but your profile should be your profile. It's how people are going to be vetting you. Your email should be the email that you feel closest tied to. I use my personal email because it is my personal LinkedIn account. Your vanity URL actually helps with your search engine optimization. It's the email that you sign on for your LinkedIn. So someone asks, where do I list my email? You can list it in your contacts, but just make sure it's the email that you're always associated with. So great question. I avoid using my image because sometimes people judge me based on a few things I'd like to not say. Just make it a headshot if that's the case. You have a higher percentage of doing business with a headshot versus a full body shot or anything like that. So if it's just like above the shoulders and stuff like that. So if you're involved with two entities, I would say use your personal email. So it's not tied to either account. So if you have like a personal email, just tie it to your personal email. For your headline, if you're doing your headline, that's where you can make it like your pitch, or you can do multiple things, and I'll go into that as we go further on. Your vanity URL should be your name or how you want to be associated in business. Your other web references should be your Twitter, your personal website, your company website, whatever you want tied to it, because that will actually help your Google search results. Your summary should be that executive bio that we're working on, which is those couple of sentences. Your work experience should not only include your work history, but your strong skills and descriptions of projects that you've had like great success in. I would also suggest that if you have metrics or data, put that in with your work experience. The other great thing about work experience that they just added 2 years ago was you can embed media. So if, let's say you have press for one of the projects you've worked on, you can embed those press releases, press clips, or different media onto your profile. Your skills and expertise is basically what your colleagues or associates are going to be giving you, but you can also control that narrative. The great thing about LinkedIn is you can always control your narrative. Your education can include your institutions you've attended or any kind of certifications. Your projects should be passion projects you're currently working on for your company. And I can't stress this enough, recommendations. Ask for recommendations, but also give recommendations. And the reason I say this is when you give a recommendation, you live on that person's LinkedIn profile forever. So when you give a solid recommendation, remember, you now live on that person's LinkedIn profile. So be strategic on who you give recommendations to, and also be strategic on who you ask recommendations from. Okay, who would we ask for recommendations when you're in a nonprofit business? So you can ask for recommendations for people you help in the community, and those can be power players. So let's say that you help someone who is on a hospital board, or who is on a business that has, donated many times to your organization and it participates actively. You can ask for a recommendation from one of those heads because they're currently working for corporate social responsibility on your board. Organization, volunteering, and causes. So if anyone volunteers with Rockland County Pride Center, tag Rockland County Pride Center, because that gives exposure to the organization that you're volunteering for onto your LinkedIn profile. It also helps when people are looking for corporate social responsible companies that they want to work with. And then the other one is make it public. Now, LinkedIn is really, really good if anyone's been in a domestic violence situation, that you can email LinkedIn ahead of time and you can tell them, like, I need you to block this certain block of people for protection reasons. They're very, very good about this. They had an issue back in 2006 2006 and then 2016 that they rectified. So I always like to mention that because I know some people don't want to say hey, I've had situations or issues. LinkedIn actually has an entire harassment, or if you've ever had to get kind of anything like that that they'll help you with. And then that's what makes an all-star profile. So I want to show you a tip for completing a profile. So this is my profile. I literally just took a screenshot of this, I think the night before. And I really love that people are helping in the chat, help other people with their executive summaries. This is what I love. Please continue to do so if you want to help in the chat. So when people are asking, oh, what do I do if I work for multiple businesses in my headline? So I like to use my headline as my main keywords and how I connect people. So I'm a digital strategy director. That's true. I'm a futurist, so I like to bring technology and innovation to companies. I work with government and public affairs and PR. And I also believe the future is community care. And I also included my pronouns. I utilize my space in the back of my my profile is if I can't do great things, I can do small things in great ways. I have my contact information, my Twitter, and my website. As you can see, I also have like my executive bio filled out. I have my features, which are like offering help, an article I wrote, things of that nature, and all of that jazz. And then this is what a completed profile should look like. And I know it looks like it's a lot, but I'm really proud of the work that I've done or certifications that I've had. So I put them on there. This is my online resume. I want people to see what I have done. I am proud of the work that I've done. And you should think of your LinkedIn as something you're very proud of. Your LinkedIn is, if you don't have the skills to build a website, of building your, your space online. I have my recommendations, I have my skills and endorsements, I have my languages, I have my different publications and awards. This is an opportunity for you to really just go like full on out, like highlight what you've done, show your different work, really be proud of everything that you're doing. So pronouns, I always get asked this question and I've decided to make a slide about it. So LinkedIn totally understands your pronouns and everyone's pronouns. They are totally okay with it. There's actually a rumor that by March, they're probably going to have a space that you can list your pronouns built into the profile. But if you're not, you can put it in through your name, or you can put it into your headline. And, they wrote a public note just less than 2 months ago. We really want you to be able to do that. Please, nobody can report your profile or anything like that. The other great thing, and I'm actually just going to go back on this slide, is everyone see that little microphone icon right next to my little LinkedIn and first connection thing? So that's a pronunciation tool, and you can actually record your name and your pronouns so that when you are applying to jobs, they know how to say your name and also what your pronouns are. Under your name, what section is that? So your name is going to be your top section. So it's going to be your main about section. It's going to be like Rachel Adler and then your about section. So it's in your intro and your about. And that's also where you can record your name. So for a lot of people that may have names that are not, custom, you can record your name so employers don't pronounce your name the wrong way. And a lot of HR professionals are really appreciative of that, because when they do call, they will listen to the name listed on your profile. So LinkedIn social media sizes. This is just the breakdown of what sizes you should be using for your LinkedIn, from everything from company pages to your logo to your personal profile, or if you want to share an image on the desktop. This was just updated January 21st, 2021. So it's the most up-to-date. You can use it in any file format, a PNG, a JPEG, or a GIF. And then I also put an illustration just so you're like, what the, you just gave me random numbers. I don't know what that means, of how it looks on your profile. And now I know the next question is going to be, well, I'm not savvy. I am not creative. How do I make a profile picture or a background image for myself? And I'd like to introduce you to my favorite tool of all time, Canva. And how many of you have ever heard of Canva? Just respond yes or no, or raise your hand. No, you don't need a premium account for all the things I'm talking about. I will never offer anything that you can't do in a free account. And I also wanted to explain to everyone that if you are on a nonprofit, Canva is free. So I gave the link for Canva for nonprofits, it's free. There's also a free design school that you can do, because if you're like, I am not creative or I am not a graphic designer, Canva has really, really great free design school. Canva is free. There are certain things that if you do pay for premium, you get like certain images and stuff like that. But the wonderful thing about Canva is you can also upload your own logos. You can upload everything. I love Canva. It's one of my favorites. You can be really creative with it. It's a great tool on LinkedIn. And I'm really happy that we have a nonprofit that didn't know that you can get Canva for free. So Guy Kawasaki, who is the Apple original evangelist, he's the one who created all the iPod black silhouettes and the bright images, but he also is one of the founders of Canva. Said, if you're not on LinkedIn, you might as well not exist in the world. And he's actually someone that's fantastic to follow on LinkedIn. And I couldn't agree more with him. So when you're on LinkedIn, post what is current or what's in your industry. So Ginny and my dad, Paul Adler, are really good at posting what's current in their industry from various news sources that are real estate like central. Like they will post from The Real Deal, they'll post from Cranes, they'll like, you know, different stories from different real estate magazines or blogs. That's something that shows up in your feed. So like if you say like, well, I don't have the time to post, but you don't have to post every day. You can just like someone's or like a company's post, and that's being active on LinkedIn. What LinkedIn wants you to do is they want you to show up. They want you to be active, but you don't have to be active in which you're doing a post every single day. They want you to be able to like a post or comment on a post, and that's showing up for them. So these are just some examples of different posts that you can like or ask. And then before you ask yourself these questions. Is it valuable? Does it fit with my personal brand? Does it include source attributions? And did I add relevant hashtags? The reason I say did it add relevant hashtags is there are people that hashtag farm. And what that does is it creates spam. So you can use 2 or 3 hashtags. You can use, 1 to 5 hashtags, but don't go crazy and use like 20 hashtags because you're going to get automatically marked to spam. So the anatomy of an effective LinkedIn update. So the content type. So is it snackable content? Is it valuable in industry insight? Is it concise? 240 characters or less. Anything more than that, switch it to a blog post, and I'll explain why later. Does it address your audience? Does it ask them or invite them for questions? Does it have strong visual? Is it attention grabbing? And that's where Canva can come in. And, that's pretty much it. Like I did check in with your social media team. Always On trauma machines, social media managers grapple with burnout, leaving the industry. I think it's a really engaging graphic. I think people are like, will stop in their feed. I hashtag, 3 things: social media, trauma, and burnout. And it's a really engaging article. So that's just one kind of post that you can do. These are additional updates. So you can do video updates, you can do GIF updates, you can do polls, you can do really, really insightful like images and stuff like that, like your work from home experience. These are just some examples of kind of updates you can use on LinkedIn. And then the other question that I get asked the most are, what are the best times to post, especially if you are a business? So LinkedIn is beautiful because LinkedIn is how much your audience engages with it, not how much you post. So if you do not, so we had a question that says, what if you have limited time to create snacky content? The beautiful thing about LinkedIn is it's quality, not quantity. So unlike Facebook and Twitter, where you're perpetually feeding the, you're perpetually feeding the animal, LinkedIn is about how much your audience engages. And so if you create engaging, beautiful, fantastic content, you only have to post once or twice a week. And so the best days to post are Wednesdays and Thursdays, because it's like when everyone's like, I've got to see what's happening. The worst day, like if you need to like post something, but you also don't want the press to know, I always say post on Sunday. But like if you have to like make it public, post it on Sunday. And then it's between 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. and 12 p.m. on Wednesdays, and then 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. and then Friday at 9 a.m. So it pretty much is like with people's like ebbs and flows with their work, if you want to get that best kind of engagement. And the times and everything changed during the pandemic, because the formerly best days to post were Tuesdays and Thursdays. And so it's interesting that everything sort of shifted. The other great, beautiful thing about LinkedIn is you can automate. So let's say you're like, I don't have time to post. That's great. You can connect it to a Hootsuite, a Buffer, a Sprout social account. These are all social media management tools that you can schedule your post. Now, if you manage a company page, LinkedIn understands that social media managers are tapped. They understand that they wear like 1,000 hats. They have a beautiful feature on there that is content that may be relevant to your industry, and it curates based off of how often you post industry relevant articles that you can then just like write like a little brief description and post onto your page. Hashtags equal content distribution. Yep, that's what they are. They are search engine features. You want to be able to highlight them. These are just some examples of some hashtags that are used. You can follow certain hashtags. So if your company has a hashtag and you want to follow it for making sure that your brand has a solid voice or you're not having negative things, yeah, those automated responses will count as activity. The other great thing is, I know how many of you have ever wanted to have a blog or have started a blog and have done like 5 posts and then we're like, nope, never mind. Just put it into the chat. This is where LinkedIn is fantastic. So if you are like, I have a great thing to say, but it's only every 3 months, use LinkedIn. Don't start a blog. LinkedIn has a publishing features. They're really great publishing features. You can include video, you can include audio, you can include GIFs. I always tell people, use your LinkedIn as your blog. So if you have an article coming out from, let's say, your boss or something like that, ask for your boss's login, create the blog from their account. A lot of the times they already have a built-in network. And the wonderful thing about it is when you write that blog, it gets shared to every single person in your network. I use it all the time. I am like notorious for writing like a burst of material and then not writing for months at a time. Like I hadn't written in a year, and then I wrote a holiday guide for 2020. And that was like the one thing I wrote that year. But I got like a huge pickup on it. But I didn't have to make it be on my website. Connect and build your network. So LinkedIn makes it so easy to connect with anyone or connect with virtual events. So if you go to My Network tab, like right here, it will have different events that are relevant to your industry, as well as people you should connect with. Groups are great. I put some great LGBT pride groups, networking groups that are like really fantastic groups. There's the LGBT professionals, there's the National LGBT Chamber of Commerce group, and all of these have like over 5,000 plus people in them, and they have it by different industries and stuff like that. And they're really good one-on-one. So like if you're not interested in like posting this out to your network, but you want to be in a more inclusive area, these are where you can have those kind of conversations. So customize your reach. So when I say the more active you are on LinkedIn, the more LinkedIn curates towards you, that's what I mean. Like LinkedIn wants you to play. They want you to be active and engaged, whether or not that means posting content or liking content or commenting on something. You're playing in the LinkedIn game for them. So complete your profile, follow companies and executives that you want to see news from, use hashtags, and remember your voice matters. So even if you do an update once a month, that once a month is making a big impact. So what's new on LinkedIn? I'm going to sort of go by this so we can go to questions. So the new things on LinkedIn, this has just been released from 2020 to 2021. You have LinkedIn events, you have QR codes. QR codes were released in the beginning of 2020, where like they thought people were going to be going to events, where like if you were like, hey, connect with me on LinkedIn, you could have just shown a QR code and like been able to share that. You have videos, so LinkedIn Live, just sharing videos, doing all that kind of stuff, posting photos, visuals, offering your services and skill assessments, and then showing your work and reactions and conversations. So these are some of the new things that you're seeing on LinkedIn. LinkedIn has been doing, they're really becoming a content distributor. So like if you have, let's say like you get a lot of pickup on a post you've done, you can be featured in the LinkedIn Daily Rundown. So like they really want you to play. So like even if you share an article that's not your article, but like you've gotten a lot of pickup on it, you can be featured in your Daily Rundown. And you can also do video calls, which is really great. So I talked about the audio feature before. That's a really great feature. Video is really great. So you can also create video messages. So let's say you do a cold email or cold LinkedIn to someone, you can do a video call with them, which is pretty cool. And it connects with like multiple servers. And then these are just some LinkedIn video tips and practices that you guys can read on your own. And then also like, these are some ideas where people are like, I like that you have ideas for video, but I don't have ideas for myself. So I've given 12 ideas for LinkedIn native videos, which could be like highlighting someone on your team, to sharing something fun, to highlighting a customer or offering an explainer video, anything like that. LinkedIn Stories is a way to like feature an event or something that's happening. It's similar to Instagram Stories or Snapchat Stories. It expires after 24 hours after posting. So it's very short-lived. It's very biteable. These are some ideas for if you wanted to use LinkedIn Stories. You can do question of the day. So like, what are you working on? How do you recharge on your day off? Or you can do localized stickers. So like, let's say you're doing a volunteering activity out on the field. You can say, hey, we're out in, you know, Pearl River, or hey, we're out in Terrytown, or something like that. Localize it so that anyone in that area could see that you're volunteering. LinkedIn messaging, you can now do quick reply. You can delete and edit your messages, which is like really fantastic. I, of course, was snarky in my response to say, hear that, Twitter, like you can have edit features. And you can also flag harassing content, because I do know that it is an issue that a lot of people get, like weird flirty messages on LinkedIn. So you can report that kind of behavior. Search has like exponentially changed because they are really working in with Cortana. They will be integrating with voice search. You can find the video and stories feature on both your desktop and on your mobile device. The stories feature is only on your mobile device. The video is on all desktop, mobile, any kind of platform. Search is getting really advanced. It will finally fully tie in with voice by the end of March 2021. So you want to make sure that your profile, your company's profile, are really fantastic and great, because that's going to help you if someone's like, hey, Google, tell me about Rockland County Pride. So new LinkedIn features for company pages, you have events, like your company tab, everything like that. This is if you have company pages, and I can go into like a full different presentation on company pages. Events, which is really just a very cool feature, gets you really active participants. And then page followers, so you can see who's actually now following your pages. So if you are using your company page for lead generation, you can now actually reach out to your lead generation of who's following your page. LinkedIn is the most powerful tool for your brand, delivering first impressions, connecting you with other professionals in your field. What not to do on LinkedIn. So don't post inflammatory comments. Don't connect and sell. So like, don't connect with someone just to sell them something. Get to know them first. It's about creating a network. Tagging unrelated people in your post for exposure. Do not do that. It is bad form, not okay. Talking politics, unless that's your job, you should not be talking politics on LinkedIn, or it's tied to your position. Don't post spam and don't flirt. LinkedIn's not a dating site. Additional tools and tips. So these are just tools for improving your communication. I marked which ones are free and which ones cost money. These are for writing and editing, as well as like transcription, and then for different public speaking. So I always say to people, like when you're on the phone with someone, make sure you have a mirror, because if you're happy, people can hear happiness, all that kind of stuff. Then some essential skills for communication. So make sure you're actively listening, feedback, confidence, friendliness, open-mindedness, empathy, nonverbal. So I say nonverbal because if you're doing videos, make sure you're presenting yourself, that you're excited and you want to be there. Respect and clarity, and making sure you pick the right medium. And then my homework for everyone is connect with 10 new people this week, send them a personal message and ask them to connect. Send 5 to 7 new messages each week to connect with people. And then make sure you keep it about them. We all know what it's like to get a new connection only to be followed by a lengthy sales pitch. Like really connect with people. You have now the opportunity on LinkedIn to do video calls, really connect with people. And then if you have any questions, now would be the time for everyone. So Joe asked, in terms of content sharing, should it only be geared towards professional content, or do folks use it to share social and personal content? So if your personal is your professional brand, then yes. But if it's not, then you know, keep it to Facebook or Twitter or Instagram. If it's things that you care about or you volunteer with, then you can post onto LinkedIn. Does anyone have any other questions? Oh, yes, Sarah. Oh, is it good to create a collage of company logos you worked with as a background image? Are you currently working with those companies, or is it just to highlight what you worked with? You can do something really creative and clever with that. But it should be what your brand reflects. If that's what your brand reflects, then absolutely make sure that it's visible and you can see everything. And I don't know what the company's rules or requirements are for background logos or images. Okay, so when you use it every day, what does it look like? Was another question we got. So when you use it every day, it looks like your own personal New York Times or Wall Street Journal subscription. So it's all news curated for you based on your interest, based on your audience, to get you most motivated. So you're going to see posts that you want to see posted. You're going to see news that you're going to want to see, like news-wise, and it really will change the audience that will ask you to connect with. We have another question. I'm wondering how to create a unified brand identity if I've been doing different things in different parts of my life. I returned to school. So if you return to school, fantastic. That's wonderful. Don't worry. You can create a brand that says you're a continuous learner that has been in the field of blah, 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 blah. And say like I'm, or I'm expanding my horizons by continuing my education. So there's ways to pivot yourself to maximize your best exposure. Is there any other questions?
I have a question. I think it'll be faster if I just say it out loud than type it in and keep having all these things. Is there like a guide that we can, like when you just said continuous learner, like so that takes some language and just makes it more attractive? Where's that sheet?
So I always say the best way that you can figure out what kind of language you want is have dream profiles to look at. So if you have someone that you're like, I freaking love how they're presenting themselves, go to their profile, see what kind of language they're using. Because if you want to be in their, category, you should be able to use some of their language. So I always say, and that's why it's really, really important to figure out what your skills are and to do those 3 sentences. Because when you do those 3 sentences, that's going to help navigate a lot of your personal brand. Does anyone have any other questions? If anyone has any questions, you can feel free to contact me. I gave my email and my personal, work phone, or you can email me. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm happy to always help with everyone. All of the sheets have some tips and tricks. The PowerPoint presentation is free for everyone. And if you download the PowerPoint, it also has my notes in there, as well as it's click and interactive. So everything has links so that if you want to go into a deep dive, you can.
Rachel, I have a question if I may.
Yeah, absolutely.
When I did a search, I'm in the accounting field, and I did a search for accountants in the area. And after their names, sometimes there's a second, sometimes there's a third. What does that mean?
Oh, so second and third means that you are connected with them in a second or third degree. So everything you do, so the way LinkedIn has done it is everyone knows the 6 degrees of separation with Kevin Bacon.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's actually how LinkedIn based their degrees of connection with people. So if you're first degree, it means you're connected with them. If you're second degree, it means someone in your network is connected with someone.
Oh, okay.
Can connect you to that person. If you're a third connection, it means someone in your network is connected to them, but not super connected to them. But that you can do 2 rows, you can do 2 means of connections to get into contact with them.
Okay, so I'm more connected than I thought I was. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, not a problem. And if anyone has any other questions, you know, you like, or you don't feel comfortable asking, you guys can contact me after this presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions. And I also included sources. So there's different sources at the end of this PowerPoint that have links, as well as education material. So like if you want to learn more, there's Linda and LinkedIn Learning, there's Skillshare, Coursera, and SlideShare. And I'm happy to help with anything, and I really appreciate you guys all taking the time. I don't want to take anyone else's time for anything.